So let's just talk about exception handling in Python. So the exception is an event that can occur during the execution of a program and that can disrupt the normal flow of instruction. So this happens when the program encounters something unexpected, like in example divided by 0 or try to access a file that does not exist. So all of the situations can lead to exception. So let's now talk about the type of errors that can occur in our program. So there are three types of error. First of all, we have the compile time error. So these are the error that occur during the compilation. So these can caused by syntax error, like an example missing colon or some spelling mistake. So these are all comes under compile time error. Secondly, we have the logical error. So here we do not have any issue with the syntax, but still it produces incorrect result because we have some problem with the logic of our code. So this is the logical error. And thirdly, we have the runtime error. So the runtime error occurs during the execution of the program. Here the code compiles successfully, but during the execution the code fails. This can be because of some user input, or this can be caused by some system issues. Like an example, the user can input some values which can lead to divided by 0. So because of this, the code will fail during the execution. So the error can be any of these types, but we can handle the error by using try, except, else and finally. So let's just see how we can handle the exception. So suppose we are getting one user input. So we are saying enter a number. So we're gonna get the user input and then we are performing the division. So the result will be 10 divided by the number. So because there is no syntax error, the code will compile properly and also the logic is also correct. But the problem is there can be some exceptions during the execution of the program because of the user input. If the user inputs the value 0, so 10 divided by 0 is the divided by 0 exception. So this can break the code. Now we need to handle that error. So to handle that error, we can use the try, except, else and the finally block. So first of all, we use the try block and we're gonna put all of this code inside the try block because this is the portion of the code where we can get some error. Now after that, we need to have the except block followed by the type of the exception. So here we get 0 division error. Here we can write the code to handle the error. So for now we're gonna print divided by 0. So this way we can have multiple exception blocks. Also we can have the value error. So here we're gonna print invalid input. So we have to put more specific exceptions first, like the divided by 0. This is more specific to this scenario here, and then more general. So here we can use the general exception like except exception as E. So this is the general exception. So here we're just gonna simply print something went wrong. So here first of all we have more specific error, and then this is the general error handling. So whenever we get an error inside the try block, this will be first of all handled by specific error types. If none of them matches, then the general types will be used. And also we have this else block. So the else block will run if there is no exception. So suppose the user input is correct, there is no error. In that case, the else block will be executed. So here we're gonna print the result of that calculation. And at the end we have the finally block. So the finally block will always run no matter if there is error or not. So if there is any error, then also finally execute. If there is no error, then also the finally will execute. So inside the finally, we're going to print execution completed. So inside the try block, we put the code that may raise some exception. The except block is used to handle the specific exception. So the else block will execute when there is no exception occurs. And the finally block will always execute no matter if there is exceptions happens or not. So let's run this. So enter some valid number like 10. So because there is no error, the else is executed and the finally block executed. Now let's rerun this. this time we're gonna enter 0. This will definitely throw some exception. So here now you can see divided by 0 error. So that is handled by this exception divided by 0, because there is error. So no matter what, the finally will execute. So here the finally is executed. So this way we can use the try, except, else and finally in our code to handle the exceptions. This will prevent the program from crashing. So hope you understand about exceptions in Python. See you in the next one. Take care.